Hey guys, welcome back to Ever Evolving. I literally tried to do a 90s blowout on my hair, but I feel like the attempt failed. But today we are talking about how your new life will cost you your old one. And I feel like this is very, very tricky because I feel like a lot of people sort of have this belief that like they can start a new life whenever they want, and that doesn't come with like sacrifices in terms of like letting go of people, letting go of situations, letting go of the past. But your new life will literally cost you your old one. If you want to start a change in your life, whether that's in relationships or in a job or even in the financial situations, it comes with change. And a lot of us sort of confuse like comfort with peace, because at the end of the day we are all beings of habit. Like, we're habitual human beings. We tend to do things because we're comfortable with doing them, but at the end of the day we won't actually see growth without change. You have to be able to step out of comfort in order for you to see a change. If not, there wouldn't be any sort of place in your mind that would be telling you that I want to start a new life. Like, literally being in a completely new environment, like starting a new life, starting a new project, starting a new plan, or being around new people requires some sort of change. And sometimes that change requires you to step out of old situations and even let go of them sometimes. So when we're talking about being creatures of habit, it literally means that since a very, very young age, we have been sort of accustomed to our environment, and we sort of act and view the world based on what we've habitually learned throughout the years. So for example, like, even if it's down to like small routines, like maybe you wake up every single day and the first thing that you do is go in the shower, and then you go downstairs and have breakfast and you make a coffee. All of those things are little routines that you've made in your head, and they're engraved in your mind so that the body actually follows through. So you don't actually have to think about those things, they just follow through consciously. So you don't have to think about getting up and going in the shower and going downstairs and having breakfast and making a coffee. Like, it literally comes to you naturally. And that's exactly how we see the world around us, or how we view life. If we constantly act on situations, whether it's reacting to certain things or reacting to like challenges, it's based on what we've habitually learned throughout the years. And if we want to make a change in our life, even if it's a very, very small change, like even if it's being around different people, we have to change our habits. It literally is about changing your paradigm, which is something that Bob Proctor mentions in one of his like sort of like philosophies, that we all have a paradigm, and it's like a group of habits that we've actually learned since we were little. And in order for us to change that, we've got to change our paradigm, we've got to change our group of habits. So if we have like a goal, let's say it's to make lots of money or to start a new plan or to be in a loving relationship, we need to focus on things that sort of block us from getting that goal. So if it's trying to manifest an abundance of money, you've got to think, what's actually blocking that? Maybe a scarcity mindset, maybe it's not being able to put yourself out there so that you can be open to new opportunities. Like, the only way that we can see growth is literally stepping out of our comfort zone, stepping out of those habits, and actually seeing change. And with change comes growth. Like, you won't be able to grow without seeing any change at all. The life that you want won't come from you being in your comfort zone, and that literally applies to everything. Like, let's take like starting a new job, for example. This is something that you've never done in your life. You're literally learning on the spot, but what's happening is that you're learning, you're changing, you're growing, but you're growing out of your comfort zone. You're not doing the things that you're technically used to. Another thing that I also wanted to talk about is that, like, when we're talking about starting a new life, we often tend to consume a lot more than creating. Like, even starting this channel, like, I've been thinking about starting this YouTube channel for ages now. Like, I started my podcast in December last year, but I've been thinking about this YouTube channel for like such a long time. But it never actually like struck me that constantly thinking about things and consuming things isn't going to change anything. Like, I could be planning a YouTube video, or I can be planning a podcast episode for ages, and it does excite me. Like, don't get me wrong, like, planning new projects excites you, the planning and stuff, but getting yourself to it and putting action to it is where the real change happens. Because you're not going to see growth, or you're not going to see, I don't know, if you want to try and make a plan or like start a business and you want lots of money to come from it, the money won't come from planning it. The money will come from actually doing it. Even if it starts off with a little bit of failure, maybe you might not get enough views, or you might not get enough customers, for example. But it's all about changing from where you're used to, or putting action into everything that you're trying to sort of preach. And the thing is, like, when we start to create, when we step out of that sort of fear of being seen, that's when real change happens, and that's when your new life starts to unfold. I've always stuck with this sort of idea that talking about things and planning things feeds your ego, but it doesn't feed your soul. Feeding your soul is actually starting to put action into it. And the thing is, when you actually start this new life, even if it isn't a business, maybe it's a new life to start loving yourself more, or to start building better relationships, all of those things feed your soul. Because the one thing that I mentioned, especially in my other video as well, I said that self-love comes with change. It comes with growing. It doesn't just come with, feeling good and feeling confident. You've got to also feel that sort of element of growth and change, and that's where real love happens, and that's where your soul becomes more flourished. And then when your soul becomes flourished, your vibrations start to become higher, and it's really a domino effect, because then that means when your soul gets fed, and when your soul is so high vibrational, you start to attract better things in your life. You start to attract higher vibrational experiences, higher vibrational people, higher vibrational opportunities. And when that happens, that's when you literally see the beauty in life. Another thing that really sticks out to me when starting a new life is learning to let go of people. Now, I have always mentioned, and I will mention it again, and it's literally the truth, we are all made of energy. Every single thing in this universe, from the smallest thing that you can imagine, like a small object, to the greater universe itself, is made of energy, and everything runs on vibrational frequencies. So when you're trying to step out of a place that you're in, let's say maybe right now you're struggling to sort of gain that self-worth back, or trying to gain that self-love back, the place that you're in now will only attract matter of the same energy. So maybe you're around toxic people, but that's because you also vibrate at that toxic level. The only way that you can achieve things in life is if you vibrate at the same frequency as it. And that's literally the same as trying to achieve money, trying to achieve a loving relationship. All of these things come when you are perfectly aligned with it. And yes, of course, action is just as important. If you're trying to manifest an abundance of money, you've got to obviously put action into it. You've got to save, you've got to invest. But the main thing that puts you closer to your goals is being energetically aligned with it. So if you're trying to start a new life where things are better and things are higher vibrational, you've got to learn that it comes with the sacrifice of letting go of people. And the one thing that I've learned, and the one thing that's helped me detach so much, is that not everyone's going to stay in your life forever, and that's completely fine. I like to compare people and life to the analogy of the train journey, where every single passenger on a train is part of your life, right? And not every single passenger is going to get on the same stop as you and off the same stop as you. Some are going to get off earlier, some are going to get off later, but it doesn't mean that you're not going to get to where you need to be. It just means that these people coming into your life to teach you a lesson, and sometimes these people teach you a lesson for you to grow and for you to become a better person. Ever since I've started to step out of my comfort zone and start to pursue things that really ignite me and ignite my power, a lot of people have actually just left my life. And it's not because it's not just because there's bad blood between them, but sometimes I'd wake up and they're not on my phone anymore, or we just sort of lose contact. And that literally doesn't mean that you or them have done anything wrong. A majority of the time it's just due to the fact that you're now evolving out of your current self, and you're evolving into a bigger and better version of yourself. And sometimes, unfortunately, people don't align with that. Maybe their new life will start a little bit later, so that means they're not energetically in alignment with you. Everything that's in alignment with everybody else that means it's going to work, basically. It's when you make a phone call, you see how literally my phone, everyone's phone is energy, right? And if I were to make a phone call right now with somebody, those frequencies will flow through very easily. But let's say if they're going underneath the ground, or I don't know, let's say if they're in a compact basement, or a room where the walls are quite thick and it sort of blocks that signal, the energies are now changed. There's different frequencies, and that means I can't get through to them. And that's because it's just we're not on the same frequency. It's causing a distortion in communication. And that's exactly the same as in real life situations, in real life and physical connections. If you're not in alignment with someone, maybe it's even just like how you view the world or how you view your own emotions. Maybe like you're starting to become more enlightened, or maybe you're starting to become more blissful. Maybe you're starting to let go of shame or guilt or fear, but then those people are still hanging on to those sort of emotions. You're going to start becoming out of alignment with them, and that's nothing for you to blame yourself on. I think a lot of us tend to blame ourselves right after we get rejected, or sometimes right after we lose a connection with someone. But at the end of the day, we can never ever become attached to people, because people come and go in our lives, and that's okay. And the majority of the time, people leave our lives when we want to hold on to them so much is because we know that we are evolving into a better person. And God and the universe are never not on our side. Like, God, this all-loving being, or even if you don't believe in God and you believe in just the universe itself, look how perfect the universe is. And I'm not talking about like natural disasters or like people's actions. I'm talking about how perfectly the earth spins on its axis, and how we have all the seasons in the right order every single year for the past millions and billions of decades. This perfect universe also wants this perfect life for you, and unfortunately it has to come with heartbreak, and it has to come with challenges and rejections, but that doesn't mean that the universe is not on your side. And also, your new life will cost you temporary highs, and I call them temporary highs because sometimes these things can be a distraction. I don't know, let's say you're trying to start like a brand new business and you're just addicted to like partying every single weekend. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm a party girl. Like, I love going out with my friends, but sometimes it does require just a little bit of sacrifice in order for you to start focusing on yourself, because you can't just chase all these temporary highs and then also see a massive improvement in your life. You've got to let go of these small things that temporarily make you happy, because if you were to look at life in the long run, investing in something so big or starting a brand new life where there's bigger opportunities will grant you a happier and long living life, rather than chasing all these like small little things that make you happy just for a period of time. So it's about learning how to let go of those things, only just a little bit, like not completely give it up, but just letting go of those temporary highs and actually start seeing the full potential in you. Like, we are all God's highest form of creation, so we are able to create, like, unlike animals. Not saying that animals are less better than us, but animals simply just blend into their environment. Like, you don't have a lion wake up one day and they're like, oh, I want to be like the richest lion in the world, or I want to be like, I don't know, I want to be the most successful, the most funniest lion in my pride. No, they just blend into their environment. They wake up to go and hunt and prey and sleep, whereas human beings, like, I could be a completely different person to how I am right now in 5 years time. And that's because we are God's highest form of creation, where we've been given the amazing faculty to literally become something that we've never been before. And that's why it's so important for us to let go of those temporary situations that can hold us back just a little bit. Like, not a lot. Obviously, too much of everything is bad for you, and too much of too little of everything is also bad for you too. So it's all about that balance and trying to pursue the bigger and more important things, and setting that at the top of your priority list than the temporary distractions, really. One last thing that I want to sort of touch up on is trusting. And when we say trust God, we sort of just like say it and just let it go, but this is so important, because when we really put our trust in God and the universe, we learn to detach from situations. And the law of detachment is so key to starting anything, whether it's starting to love yourself more, starting to get over a person, or starting to manifest something. When we start trusting God and the universe, just like I said, how the universe and God are never not on our side, we take that massive leap of faith. And when we do that, we tend to sort of let go of what we're trying to think about. And that doesn't mean that we're giving it up. It just means that we know that it's there. Because by constantly clinging on to something, whether it's your past or even if it's the future, like let's say you really are trying to manifest a new life, but you're clinging on to that thing that you're trying to manifest in the future, it puts you in a place of scarcity. And when you're in a place of scarcity, it means that you literally do not have what you want. You don't have the new life that you want. Whereas if you place yourself in the mindset of abundance, where you are 100% certain that you are going to get it, just like you know how the sun will rise in the morning and how you know the sun will rise in the evening, you don't have to question those things because you already know it's going to happen. So if you're trying to manifest a new life, that will have to cost you this whole sort of attachment mindset that a lot of us do have. Like, don't get me wrong, like I also have this attachment mindset from time to time, where I sort of cling on to the thing that I want or the thing that I've had in the past. But what I don't realize is that that's really putting me in a place of scarcity. It's making me, well, it's actually making the universe, it's making God think that I'm not capable of achieving it. And we are beings of free will. So even though God and the universe are not on our side, but they're never going to intervene with anything that we do or anything that we think. So if we believe that we're not capable of achieving this brand new life, then the universe and God are going to be like, okay, let me show you then. Let me show you that you're not capable of achieving that. Whereas if we were to switch our mind around and say, I am capable of achieving it and I will get it, no matter the circumstances, I'm going to get it. I'm going to get this new life. I'm going to achieve success and abundance and love and every opportunity that you can think of, any opportunity that you have written down in your journal or just thought about in your head. If you are 100% certain, just like you are certain about the sun rising and the sun setting, you will place yourself in that abundance because you're not thinking about the how, you're not thinking about the when, you're thinking about the exact thing that you're trying to get, and you will get it because in this world, or in this universe, there are billions of opportunities. There are billions of versions of you. And the current version that you're living of yourself is just the one that you're living in now. And you can get to wherever you want to be. But it's just a matter of space and time. Just like how you can't imagine like a brand new color, but you can imagine yourself as a billionaire. It literally means that it's true. It can happen, but it just requires a certain amount of energy change, and that energy change requires you to step out of that scarcity mindset and put yourself in abundance. So it's really about just taking that massive leap of faith and really opening your heart to God and the universe and trusting that your new life will, although cost you your old one, but it will happen. And it's going to cost you having to not get attached to it, and a lot of us do naturally get attached to things, and it's not our fault. It's based on who we are as like our upbringing, or just as loving and beings of pure energy. We do get attached to situations and we do get attached to things, but if we constantly get attached to things like we did in the past, we're not going to achieve what we want in the future. That requires you to let go of that attachment lifestyle or mindset and start placing yourself in abundance. So you see how everything requires change? That literally means growth. You won't see growth without change. It's literally down to like even the physical body. Like, I don't know, like let's say you're trying to build muscle. That requires change. It requires change of diet. It requires change of weight. It requires change amount of reps. Everything, every growth in every single aspect in life requires change. So your new life will cost you your old one, and that comes with change.